how they are being utilized. The accident rate for people crossing the roads is very high. We need to do something about it and put better crossing mechanisms.
All right. Now, I'm still on you, Honorable Mende, Ms. Mende. What about the issue of tenders? Dr. Nyoro mentioned that we have some roads that already have signs on tenders and for different individuals or entities. How are you going to come in and bring a synchrony in the system and ensure that things are...
One of the key issues we are having, for example, why do we have very high pending bills? You know, why do we have very high pending bills? That's something that has not been asked, and it's a good question, because all those tenders, why are you budgeting for money you don't have? Why are you starting a road and you don't have the money to finish it? That's something we've been doing in Kiambu. So, for example, we say our own source revenue, the revenue we are going to generate internally is 4 billion. While you know the highest we've ever reached is 2.7. And there are no new mechanisms to make sure that you move from 2.7 to 4 billion. Then you start budgeting for that 2 billion, saying you're going to do this road, and this, and this, and this, knowing very well that you will start that project and it won't be finished. So, first of all, it's changing how we budget, that we do realistic budgeting, so that you don't start saying you'll do project that you won't actually do. That is one.
Right.
Secondly, don't start a project if you don't have the money to finish it. Like, from what I've heard, that we're actually starting projects that we don't have money for. I think that is totally wrong, because it also gives people the impression that we are going to do this 1, 2, 3, and you know very well, actually there's no money to do it, so they will not even be finished. So it's just putting proper systems, do proper budgeting, don't start anything that you cannot finance.
Now, Dr. Nyoro, there's a question from Mukami Gikuni. She's asking, Gikuni Road has been pending and yet the tender was awarded over 2 years ago. Would you like to respond to that?
Let me say this. And the reason, first of all, I said we are lucky because we have these main track roads. If you go to Kabete today, both Kabete and part of Kiamba, you will see that out of Western Bypass, we have probably gotten almost 30 kilometers of roads that are bifurcating or coming out of Western Bypass. So just by having the Western Bypass pass through us, we have benefited in ensuring that we have gotten those roads. But let me say this. I think information, I agree with Mwende, because I think she also needs to get information that there is not a single project, particularly in urban development, any single project that we do without the members themselves identifying in a public participation, particularly under the Kenya Urban Support Program, which is very clear, have been funded by the World Bank. You cannot even touch. I know you've worked close to those institutions without public participation. So even when you talk about public participation, let us be very practical. This is done because priorities are such that you cannot touch any of those donor funds or urban funds without public participation. What I agree with is you need to tell rally people that in 2027, the road between Kamae and Kirasha will be done. If that is what you want to say, planning ahead. You know, once you enter into government, you realize that you have a plan, but it is followed by a cash flow. And the cash flow would dictate on when you will do that. You have already told the people when you do the road, but your cash flow is influenced by factors that are completely external to you. Some of these things you probably have to go in to realize the difficulties that there are. Now, in terms of the Gekoni Road, we need to differentiate, because they are the roads that I'm telling you about. Roads that are bifurcating or moving out of the Western Bypass that are done by Kenya or Kera. As opposed to the roads that we and Gekoni people know, that the roads that we have started in Gekoni, including Gekoni Shopping Center, we have completed in time. So the road that is being referred to is a Kera road, which bifurcated from the Western Bypass and not our own road.
All right, thank you so much. Let's appreciate him. All right, and Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask this question because, and this goes to all of you, all of our candidates. You will have 1 minute to respond to this. And here I'm talking about resident associations. This event was organized by CARA. Resident associations are key stakeholders in government of the county, and their involvement in service delivery, decision making, is something that is very, very important. But now, how do you intend to work with and engage resident associations in service delivery?
Asante sana Bwana Ram. Na Ram, pengine saa zingine tunapata wakati kidogo kwa sababu pengine maswali inaelekezwa pande moja, lakini pengine unipatie tu wakati kidogo ili nikumalizie maneno ya barabara.
Nilikupata nafasi ukaongea kuhusu barabara.
Alafu nipatie sasa nafasi ya hiyo swali mpya. Sasa kwanza ningetaka kusema hivi. Niseme kwamba nafurahia sana na ningetaka kushukuru Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya kwa sababu amefanya accent kwa bili yangu nilikuwa nimetoa ya malipo wakati umefanya tenda ya umma na pesa yako inakwama kule. Nilitoa bill nikasema kama unapeana kazi na huna pesa ya kulipa hiyo kazi, basi itabidi tuseme serikali iwe na bank what do you call it, bank guarantee. Kwa hivyo kama hutalipa yule mtu, basi yule ataenda alipwe na ile bank, na sasa itakuwa serikali na bank. Na hiyo bill imekuwa accented, sasa ni implementation. Na niseme nashukuru sana serikali ya Kenya.
Asante sana.
Na ningetaka kuweka hii in context kwa sababu nasikia sasa hapa county inapeana kadarasi na haina pesa. Kwa hivyo sasa Gavana Nyoro, ujue wajango wakichukua hiyo serikali sasa itakuwa ni vile watu watalipwa wakichukua kadarasi. Na
asante.
Na niseme hivi.
Yes.
Hizo trakta zote 12, hata Thika kuna moja, lakini trakta iko na mafuta hakuna. Sinakaa tu kule bure. Na nifafanue barabara za Thika. Kulikuwa na uvumi atilisitengenezwa na serikali ya county. Nikitaka kuambia wakaaji wa Kiambu, barabara za Thika nilipewa na national government 700 million na tukasifanya zote ukarabati. Na niseme CIDP, public participation, ni ya umuhimu. Bimwende, asante sana, kwa sababu unakuta mimi niko na barabara natengeneza Thika. Nikianza hivi unakuta county, katika za county zimekuja zimefamia barabara ile tu. Vile nauliza ni hivi, kwani hakuna barabara nyingine county ingekuchukua na watu wa Thika?
Bwana Jango, ningependa nikukatisha hapo kwanza na ujibu swali langu.
Wacha sasa nijibu.
Nakupa sasa dakika moja.
Na bado ukumbuke kuna maneno ya pending bills, hiyo usisahau.
Bado kuna mambo mengi ambayo tujaangalia. Ningependa uchukue dakika moja ama nitaenda kwa mwingine.
Niseme mimi mwenyewe nimekuwa chairman wa resident association kule nakaa Kiboko. Nimekuwa chairman wao kwa miaka 7 na nikaweka mabadiliko kibao. Na ningetaka kusema hivi, watu ndio mali na ndio tunatumikia. Na mimi katika ile kazi yote nitafanya hapa Kiambu, nita-involve na nitashughulikia resident association. Kwanza waniambie wangetaka tufanye nini. Ile kazi nitafanya nikiwa gavana wao, nitafanya kwa teamwork na tutabadilisha Kiambu sisi wote.
Asante. Asante sana. Still, Dr. Nyoro, coming over to you. Public participation and how you intend to involve resident associations.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have to say that I've had an opportunity to meet Akilna. I have personally worked with neighborhood associations, and I want to pick one, Mushroom. And that's the kind of relationship that I would want to have. One, and I've said it very categorically, that we can promise all these 5,000 kilometers, I don't know who do what, there is a limitation of funds. And the problem is that given a certain amount of resources, the question would be, would I take it to Kiamombi or would I take it to Mushroom? And we have had discussions with the neighborhood associations, and we have agreed, and like for instance, we have been doing a joint road with the neighborhood association going to Mushroom and Kogeria. The point is, we have agreed that we will work out a memorandum where we will do a PPP, where we want to bring, because you are staying there, you want very good road, you want rights, you want water, you don't have to wait. A private investor would come in where we would give security ourselves so that we can work with the neighborhood association to complete that road faster. Then the repayments can come in even as you pay your ad rates, even as you pay your other sources. So one way is to establish a public partnership with you so that you can advance your neighborhood very quickly without waiting for the resources, so that our public resources will go to Kiambu, but then the private equity or private money would come to improve on you. Second one is to self-regulation. If you want to have very clear self-regulation, because we have a lot of things where we do not abide to the regulations that you have put, and I have discussed with you. One of the reasons is that you have a new member who comes in, who does not want to subscribe to your association, and they do not want to pay for the amount of money they are supposed to pay for the roads or for the other infrastructure, but then they very quickly pass their physical plans to us without passing through you, and we approve, and then you don't get that dues. What we have agreed with the neighborhood association is that we will not approve any physical plan unless it has come from you, and you have stamped, and you have said that we are okay with this person because he has paid our dues. The third one is on zoning, ensuring that what you agree in your bylaws are met, and for us is just to enforce, so that you don't get a zone which is supposed to be a residential area which is converted into a commercial center. That way we want to ensure that you maintain the beauty of your environment. So this is a continuous process where there's going to be a dialogue between us and the neighborhood association in order to improve, and that will also increase our revenue collection from where you sit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Wende, over to you on the issue, the
Yes.
same question. Yes.
Yes, I totally agree with that. The 4 Ps, I call them the 4 Ps. People, the people, a partnership between people, the public, the private partnership. So there are 4 Ps there. Because, for example, on waste management, engage what private sector does best. Engage them, let them do that. There are areas where private sector does a lot better than in the public sector. Now, coming to the community associations and these kind of groups, engage them because they know their issues best. First of all, they know their issues best. Engage them in finding solutions. They know the solutions even better than you do. So engage them in discussing the issues, in discussing the solutions. Facilitate service access. For example, if it's, let's say, lighting, this is where you also bring in the technical expertise and benchmarking. For example, you say, instead of spending so much on electricity, why don't we use, solar, things like that. So you bring in the technical expertise, the engineers in the government. Here is also where you also facilitate them to get the financing. I know many community organizations are also fundraising to do their own project, but facilitate to get them implemented. And also for them to have good governance structures so that they also don't end up also having, these corruption issues, which some of them are having now. The other thing I think we have not mentioned, but just allow me to put it in, we have talked a lot about services. I think the one thing we haven't talked about is what is going to finance these services. Because Kiambu is broke, and it's urbanizing so quickly. So quickly, okay? And it's the biggest, in fact, 60% of Kiambu we are saying is urbanized. But we don't actually have the money to set up the infrastructure to provide the services required for the rapid urbanization that is happening in Kiambu. I think that is something that needs to be addressed, because we are getting to a stage where then like what is happening, you've seen, I think, how Ruaka itself has grown. So many flats, there's no sewage, there's no water, some of them don't have water, some of them don't have lighting. It's something we need to discuss. How are we going to finance it? We need to actually have a plan for financing the rapid the rapid urbanization of Kiambu, which is happening right now.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate her. Tumpige makofi. Tumpige makofi. Asante sana. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many issues that we have not managed to address because of time. But I would like to give you a chance. So far to the point that we have reached, do you have any questions for our gubernatorial candidates? Do we have a microphone that is there? Let me, who has a microphone? Who is going to be passing it out or passing it through? I need to know somebody who will be doing that. Now, keep your questions straight and direct. Before we start, let me just know how many questions we have. How many? One? Just wait. We have one. My goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll start with you. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 questions. Okay. I will give you that opportunity if you've got 10 questions. 11. If you promise me that you will keep your questions within, you will ask your questions within 30 seconds. We agree. If you want 1 minute, post it on there. 30 seconds. Only if you agree. 30 seconds. Do we agree? To make a gano, 30 seconds each. And of course, where's my phone? Yes. You too. All right. Okay, no problem. So because they've got to leave, I will only request that you only ask a question that has not been addressed. Okay? Only that which has not been addressed. And thank you so much for being sincere. Asante sana. So let me start with you. I promise you. 30 seconds.
Okay. You are our candidates for availing yourself. My 2 questions straight to one to Governor Nyoro. We have this road from Red Hill, Posta area that connects with Gekoni. It was tarmacked and left at just a small section that would have allowed us to connect with Gekoni. What is your government, and now that you are seeking a fresh turn of fresh, what are you doing to address that issue? The second question is about the flower farms that are within Red Hill area. What do we get is back to the community from the investors who are from out of the country, and yet they are polluting our rivers. We cannot get now fresh water because already they are polluting our rivers.
Thank you. To you.
Good morning. My question has been pending bills. I've been a contractor with Kiambu County, and we have been even called by the National Assembly and been assured we are going to be paid, but this was not addressed. What is happening? Because we are frustrated and no longer willing to work with the county.
Thank you. Let me come here.
My name is Rido. My question is about water service providers, especially Kiambu Waters. How are you going to do to make sure that the distribution of water is extended to other areas like Kiamombi, Mugumo, and Kukenda, where it is not being served by Kiambu Water?
All right, thank you. Let's answer those questions first, and then we proceed. And Dr. Nyoro, Honorable Wainaina, and Ms. Mwende.
Thank you.
Yes.
This will be quick. The road you are referring to, the Red Hill, yes, I do appreciate that there is a section that has not been done. It's a very critical road. It connects to Gekoni, as you have said, very, very critical. The problem was that it was not prioritized. As I said, public participation takes place when we are looking at urban. So when we were doing public participation for the urban roads for Kabete and Remuru, it was not prioritized. What we have done now is we have prioritized that road, because essentially we do not start at the urban development. We do not start a road that is not completed. And we don't start a tarmac that ends up on an earth road. So it is a priority in our plan now, in our urban plan, because it has already been prioritized going forward. What we have agreed, and we know that this is the end of the year, we have agreed that we can do the road as we await the urban funds available from September, God willing. On flower farms is a general question. Really, the proposal, and you know there was a road that was passed, that 25% of the revenue that is collected within a particular area is left in between. As you probably know, most of the flower farms, they pay directed to to cafes and other national bodies. We as a county only charge a very small fee. So the aspect of polluter pay principle, which is basically what you are saying, they're extracting more water, they are polluting more water. You know, we had a problem actually at just here, Kabuku, when one of the dams burst and it swept out a whole village. We are now talking with WASREP to ensure that we implement the polluter pay principle. If you extract too much water, then you pay for it. Padding bills is a padding question. It is a major, major issue. You people know the kind of readers that you had until 20th of January 2020. There was an accumulation of 5.2 billion shillings on padding bills. What we have done is to prioritize on FIVO, first in, first out basis. And that is why we are slow. I can tell you, and these people need to know, that if you are given 800 million, one exchequer, 600 going to recurrent, and you only have 200 remaining, which you have to give to assembly and whatever, when you cannot even pay recurrent bills, leave about padding bills, we have a plan now. And our plan is to ensure that we are sourcing more revenue. We have a plan to have an infrastructure bond so that more of the money that is going towards road construction can come towards paying padding bills. But it's a major issue. It's a padding issue.
Thank you.
And water distribution, we can talk that. I have a master plan for every sub-county. Your water may not necessarily come from Kiambu, and you know very well that the water we are drinking here today comes from Roromo in Rari. I have a master plan for the whole county, and each sub-county has a water master plan that we need to implement. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, to our panelists also, just as I am going to be strict on them with time, allow me to also be strict on you with time. Allow me to do so. Let me start with you, Honorable Mwende.
Just two things. Pending bills, we really need to work on that. I mean, I've read the controller of budget, and they have said the way Kiambu is going is totally unacceptable. So in as much as we say how when you took over it was like this, no, the last 2 years under your watch, it's also been out of control. Secondly, that needs to be looked into. There's something which was not raised. The whole idea of Kiambu having a manual payroll. You know, the government creating a manual payroll on one side, but creating a very good system for collecting revenue. How do you collect revenue? And actually, the collection of revenue went up by 40%. Then we have 860-something million that went out through a manual payroll. For me, that there is something very wrong about that. And what are we showing to other counties that you can, create manual things and get away with it? I mean, it's illegal. And Kiambu, we should not be doing illegal things at this stage. Okay. Secondly, on the water companies, actually, it's both water and sanitation because they go together. I'm creating a master plan for water and sanitation for the whole county on how it's going to be addressed in partnership with the water companies so that any sub-county has a water company, and we implement this so that we resolve, holistically we look at the water and sanitation and we resolve the problem. All right, thank you.
Bwana Jango, you respond to that, and of course, and then I will come back to the audience. Five more questions. Bwana Jango,
Asante
1
sana.
minute.
Asante sana. Ningetaka haraka sana. Kwanza nianze na hiyo jambo la pending bills, na niseme hivi. Saa hii pengine gavana anaweza tuambia, mimi nikisikia wanasema pending bills za Kiambu ni 9 billion, wengine wanasema ni 5 billion, mimi sijui tumekaa wapi pale, lakini tena ningetaka kusema hivi. Huyu gavana ametupeleka mpaka kule. In fact, nilisoma pale pengine nikaona Kiambu tumefirisika. Hata saa hii sijui gavana Jango ataanza wapi. Lakini ningetaka niseme hivi. Yule amekuwa gavana. na yule amekuwa senator, hata alikuwa mhusika kwa hii debate na hakufika kwa sababu wengine aliogopa. Lakini ningetaka kusema hivi, mbona senator mwenyewe anasimamia gavana peleka Kiambu mpaka inafirisika? Wakati mwingine nikasema Kiambu imekuwa gunia imeraruka. Sijui tutaanza wapi, na niseme hii ni lazima hawa wawili wawe totally responsible. Unfortunately wote wawili wanataka kuwa magavana. Sijui watupeleke wapi, na Kiambu imefirisika. Huwezi kuwa kabisa. Kiambu ni kampuni, is an enterprise. Kama uko na pending bills, ni kusema hiyo pesa ilienda pahali na ingekuwa inasaa pesa zingine za kulipa pale. Huwezi kuwa uko na pending bills na hakuna pale unaweza tuonyesha pesa ilienda wapi. Hayo ndio maneno Jago wataanza pale, na maneno ya ufisadi tungoe hiyo. Lakini ningetaka kuambia wakaaji wa Kiambu, tukianza hii serikali, kila kadarasi tutakupatia kutakuwa na pesa ya kukulipa. Tunajua watu wanajinyonga saa hii sababu ya pending bills, na mimi nikiwa na gavana wenu nitajaribu juu chini nione vile tunaweza suluhisha hiyo issue ya pending bills na collection ya pesa.
Asante sana, asante sana. Thank you so much, Bwana Jango. Now let me come to you. You've got 30 seconds.
Well, I'm a resident and I'm very keen, or rather tech savvy, and I always get my information online. So there was an article on Taifa Leo, which was also on Twitter. That's on the 7th of July 2022, and it listed the governors. Now, Honorable I'd be very curious to know your version of the story, because this is public news. This is something that is on the media. This is on Taifa Leo on Twitter. Had listed you as two. Number one is the current Nairobi governor, that's two, and then whereby there is 6 billion that's missing, and Maendeleo, which is 600. Yes, there is a list of other governors, but as a resident, of course, I would be quite keen on this information. So I'd like to take this opportunity to ask you so that you can give us your version of the story.
Now, of course, we will respond to that. Where's the microphone? Give it to her. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank our leadership, and I have just one question. I come from Kiambu, and I'm talking with a lot of pain. When I remember, me, I'm a nurse, and people come to my place so that at least I can give them help. Yet, the roads are deplorable. They are bad. In the last 5 years, Mr. Nyoro, you've been there hata kama ni hiyo miaka mbili, and I'm kindly requesting you, for the last these few days that are remaining, you tell us, the residents of Kiambu, what are you going to do for us? We are crying, and it is very sad. The other thing is about health. Ni kama Kiambu imesahaulika. I'm a nurse, and I had to make sure that I go to Nairobi. I work in Nairobi County to make sure that our people get COVID vaccines. So please, I'm kindly requesting something to be done in Kiambu.
All right, Asante.
Tafadhali.
Let me come to you. And please.
Thank you. My name is James Kirago from Tegoni and also RKRA. 2 issues. One, we have been given a lot of promises about the price of hunger. And I say that figuratively. It is basically the price of food. But the price of food will not improve if the underlying agriculture is suffering. So the question is, and in this area, there is tea in particular, agriculture, small-scale farmers with eggs. What is going to be your policy, whoever is elected, with regard to agriculture and tea in particular? Two is access to public offices, which we cannot access. We send communications there, they are not answered. Can you please give us a promise and a charter that any communications we send to the county government
Thank you.
are going to be answered in 7 days? Thank you.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Let me come to you. 30 seconds.
Thank you. My name is Wamboi. I'm from Gatondo. My question is, I took my parents to Gatondo Hospital. They're not, oh. And they're not drugs. There's no medication. So, why isn't there? I want to ask coming governors, will you there will be medication? It's a mess. Thank you.
I hope you heard that question. Yeah, but I believe that was addressed a bit earlier. 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I'm Bernard Mwangi, Njoroge. I work with Kera, and we are doing some loads within Limuru. My question is, I was a student at JKUAT. My question goes to Governor Nyoro, because you are the current governor. What have you done to solve Kiambu problems using the resources that you have? One of the resources that you have is the universities. What is the link between the universities and the technical schools within Kiambu? How are you using that link to solve the problems that we have? Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, let me come to you.
Good morning. My name is Agatha. I'm from Gatondo South. I have a question. As it is right now, Kiambu is headed to become a concrete jungle. Do you have intentions of zoning out certain areas to make them pure agriculture? What incentive do you have to make it attractive? Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, allow us to take only those questions, and then we have a reaction from our candidates. Let me start with you, Dr. Nyoro, and then Honorable Django, and then...
Very quickly on this. Let me first of all state on what Madam Wende talked about. When you read the question, also read the answer. We have provided an answer on the manual payroll and why manual payroll starts before you go to IPPD. Whenever you are a new employee, you don't get an IPPD number. You are in the manual payroll until you get an IPPD. It is actually a suspense account before you move. And that is why we have a manual payroll. And when that question was asked by the auditor, we responded. So you only read the question, but you did not read the answer. Now, in terms of the article that you are referring to, I would personally want to say that I want to know the details, because it has not been raised in my office as an audit. So you are referring to a newspaper. I would rather not comment about it because I don't know the details. I didn't have the chance to read Taifareo like you did, but I would want to get the details, then I can give you a technical answer. That is my response to your question. On Kiamombi, I entirely agree with you. And let us be factual here. When you are looking for readers, start with your MCA and to look at your member of parliament. Because even if you have a magician governor, the governor will not know the petty small issues at your local place. The problem with Kiamombi today is that the MCA that you elected was concentrating on Duberry and Township and those areas, and he totally neglected Kiamombi. I have personally gone out and discussed with Kiamombi Association, a guy called Simon Muraya, if you probably know him. We have sat together and we have agreed that there are quite a number of roads that we need to do. We have agreed on the health center, but that is specifically because in the 2 years I have been in the office, that particular MCA has never come to talk about Kiamombi. He talks about the bazaar, which I have put tarmac, and so on and so forth. So as we think about leadership, let us know that there is a role of an MCA, there is a role of an MP, and the role of a governor. But I agree with you, I have a date through Sam Muraya to meet the association and agree on the things that needs to be done.
Thank you.
On agriculture, you know very well that my passion is in agriculture. And I can tell you that we have very, very clear plans of zoning As I said, the neighborhood association will help us in zoning and ensuring that this concrete jungle does not continue. But let me tell you, there is always a difference between your private interests and social interests. The social interest is to make sure that we do not have a concrete jungle. Your private interest is that if it is not profitable to do coffee and it is profitable to do an estate, the Constitution, no, listen to this. Yes. The Constitution allows you to have your own private interests. So what we are doing is we can raise, and we are working to have high value agriculture so that you can reduce the opportunity cost of land, so that you don't get tea uprooted, so that tea is paying. But you know that tea also has a role at the national government. So we'll be working together with you in order to see areas that need to be zoned and that cannot be converted. But when it comes to you being sick, you probably will have to have an acre for you to go to a hospital rather than your community. And I think there was an issue of, I think I've answered the concrete jungle.
Thank you, Dr. Let me proceed with the next one, of course, Ms. Mwende.
Thank you. That article, I also read it with a lot of concern, because actually we are being quoted as the second most corrupt county in Kenya. And let me say something. Corruption starts in the governor's office. By the time you go to MCAs, they copy what they are seeing. You know, if something is happening in the governor's office, it will be copied by everybody else below it. Corruption in Kiambu is starting in the governor's office. There are no two ways about it there. Secondly, there was a very good question on agriculture. My thinking how to make Kiambu the best city to live in and the best city for investors in Africa involves splitting it into 4 big cities, thematic cities. One will be agribusiness. That agribusiness city is the one which will make Kiambu the food basket of Kenya. The second one is healthcare. This is where we are going to do with we make the best healthcare facilities in that city so that people can stop going to South Africa and to India. People will be coming to Kiambu healthcare city. Education. This is where the Silicon Valley of Kenya will be in the education. And then we have the convention where the malls, the recreation places, the leisure, the conference rooms will be. So I'll split it into, that's my idea. And to come back to your question, is to make sure that we have an area in Kiambu which is reserved for agriculture, and we intensify our agriculture, we build our markets, we make Kiambu the food basket of this country. Thank you.
Asante sana. Let me come to you, Honorable Jango.
Ya kwanza kabisa ningetaka kusema hivi. Kiambu, na nilisema nikifungua nikasema Kiambu tunataka uongozi mpya, ni lazima tubadilishe Kiambu. Hii ufisadi unasikia, corruption, Kiambu being the second most corrupt county in the republic. Hii ni jambo la kuhuzunisha sana. Na ukisikia corruption ujue pale ni lazima kuwe na ofisi ya gavana, kuna ofisi ya seneta, na ikiendelea hivyo. Hivyo ni kusema tayari kama tukiongea hii mjadala watu wawili tumewaondoa kwa kinyang'anyiro. Haya, alafu niseme hivi, pale Kiamumbi ningetaka kusema hivi, kweli mimi Wajangu mimi nitakuwa your magical governor. Hiyo barabara tayari nimeandika ujumbe pepe, nimetumia watu wangu wa barabara, wataiangalia na tuongee badala ya haya maneno. Niseme tena hii maneno ya manual payroll, saa hii wakati kama huu, kwa nini tunaongea maneno ya manual? Tuko na IT. Kenya I think is the most advanced in technology. Tuna jehela, tuko na M-Pesa, tuko na vitu mingi. Bona saa hii bado tunalipa manually. Sababu ni moja tu, kwa sababu kuna watu wanapenda na wanakaa wakitegemea ufisadi. Food security, kuna program iko hapa Muguga. Agri City ilikuwa na provision ya 8 billion, ilikuwa inadhaminiwa na World Bank. Mpaka wakati huu hiyo Agri City haijaanza hata wakati huu, na hiyo ni bilioni 8 imepotea. Sidhani hii wiki 3 kama kuna mtu anaweza iokoa. Na niseme mimi nikiwa Jango, nitaanzisha mpango wa agro processing. Nimesema mimi ni mhandisi, nimesema mimi ni mtu wa biashara. Ningetaka ukulima wetu ukue ukulima biashara, na ukulima uko na viwanda. Hakuna haja ya kukaa tukiuza maziwa yetu kwa Kamonyole. Alafu ningetaka kusema maneno ya medication sana kabisa, sitarudia, lakini niseme hivi: tukitoa ufisadi, watu watatibiwa.
Asante sana.
Na nikimalizia niseme kuna hii maneno ya concrete jungle. Concrete jungle inatokelezea kwa sababu ukulima wetu hauna pesa. Wacha tuweke pesa kwa ukulima, wacha tuweke viwanda vya ukulima, basi utaona ukulima uko na pesa, uko na fedha, uko na hela. Utaona watu hataki kujenga manyumba, wangetaka kuweka makadamia na avocado na kuprocess maziwa yao.
Asante sana. Now, let's give them one big round of applause, please. Now, I would like to give this opportunity to all of us. Keep on doing what you're doing there. I can see the votes are continuing. Keep on voting. I would like to give an opportunity to each and every one of our gubernatorial candidates to have 2 minutes to have a final word. Speak to the people of Kiambu County. What is your final word as we end this forum? I would like to start with Ms. Gatapaki.
The people of Kiambu, our biggest problem today is social issues. Alcohol and drug abuse, suicide. We have the highest suicide rate in the country. Rape, we don't talk about rape. It's happening every day. Our girls and boys are being raped. Women are being raped. Rape is becoming normalized. So it's very, very, very bad. And as a mother, as a wife, I feel very bad about what's happening in this country. And we are not talking about it. I am humbly asking of you to vote for me, because with all my competitors, none of them is even talking about social issues. I'm the only one talking about social issues. And if our homes are broken, there is nothing we'll be able to do. It doesn't matter how good the roads are. If your home is broken, our homes are totally broken. Our social fabric in Kiambu is totally broken. Give me this chance to build our homes, to build our county, so that we can take it back to the top where it used to be. Give me your vote. I ask you for your vote. I'll not let you down. I'll help you build our homes, look after women, look after single mothers, look after our disabled, look after our senior citizens, look after our men who are also complaining they're totally unhappy. Create jobs for the youth. I will not let you down. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think
Dr. Nyoro, your 2 minutes starts now.
Thank you very much. I want to say this. We have inherited a very corrupt county. And that is why I said we need to go and look at that report and say when they are referring. Because if it was not corrupt, then you would not have had a governor impeached because of misuse of 2 billion shillings. So I would really want to see the details of that, because we definitely are in office because of corruption. And one thing that we really have to do is to maintain a very transparent and accountable system to the residents of Kiambu. And in my manifesto, besides talking about putting more money in people's pocket by ensuring that we transform our agriculture, we create jobs, we invite manufacturing and industrialization, that I have put in 1.3 billion shillings for Jinue, for small and medium enterprise. We also have to do that through efficient delivery of services. We have been in the county for 2 years. We have laid the foundation. We just need to build on that foundation. The most important thing is social accountability. Let us devolve to the village level so that we have village committees that are holding us accountable on priorities of projects, and also on how the quality of those projects are. For the people of Kiambu, I'm telling them, I have been tested through the most difficult time, the COVID time. We managed COVID despite all the difficulties. We now have 54 ICU beds. We have over 1,500 beds. We have done 560 kilometers of rural roads within 2 years with COVID. We've done 300 kilometers of bitumen. I am saying this is only the beginning. the Jinue, so far, 50 million has been taken by people to improve on their business.
All right.
This is only the beginning. I'm asking you, let us drive facing forward. Let us hold each other accountable.
All right.
And with me,
Asante.
you are in safe hands. Thank you.
Asante sana. Let me come to you, Honorable Jango. Your 2 minutes starts now.
Mkaaji wa Kiambu, uko na chaguo la Jango, na mimi nikiangalia pale nimekaa naona Jango pengine ndiye amestahili kiti kwa hizi sababu. Wacha tuangalie tuone, tungetaka kiongozi wa vitendo, sio kiongozi wa kusema watafanya, hata pale wakikalia kiti saa hii bado wanatuambia watafanya. Wajango, ukitaka barabara nipigie simu saa hii. Ukitaka stima nipigie simu saa hii. Miche ya makadamia na avocado nipigie simu saa hii. Ukitaka wheelchair nipigie simu saa hii. Ukitaka kiudi ya economic empowerment nipigie simu saa hii. Ugavana wangu ni wa saa hii, sio wa tarehe 9. Tarehe 9 ni kuendelea na kusukuma. Na tafadhali, kama mtu ashakalia kiti ya ugavana, kama kuna mtu amekuwa kwa kiti ya usenita hapa Kiambu, huyo mtu hata kusaidia kamwe. Huyo mtu ataendelea na business as usual ya kuharibu Kiambu na kuipeleka sijui wapi. Pending bills utakuwa unakuta iko sasa bilioni sijui ngapi. Wakati ndio huu wa kubadilisha Kiambu ibadilike kabisa. Wacha tuangalie na tutafute yule gavana akona uaminifu, hawezi guza pesa yako kamwe. Wacha tutafute gavana ambaye ni msimamizi, manager, CEO, atupelekee Kiambu mbele. Hawa wengine watararua Kiambu. Kiambu tunataka isimame na ikuwe Dubai ya Kenya. Hakuna haja ya kusema maneno ya Ulaya. Ulaya inaweza kuwa hapa.
Asante sana, asante sana. Ladies and gentlemen, mumesikia kutoka kwa hawa watu wote, sivyo? So at the end of the day, the decision is upon you. I would like to call upon Mr. Peter Geshe to give his closing remarks. Let's give him one round of applause.
Nafikiria asubuhi ya leo imekuwa njema na tumepata nafasi ya kuwasikiliza hawa magovernors wetu, na tuko na njia moja ama mbili ya kuweza kuchagua ni gavana gani mzuri. My name is Engineer Geshe Karanja. Sorry, inatuangusha mitambo. Ni Engineer Geshe Karanja, chairman wa Kenya Alliance of Kiambu Residents and Neighborhood Association, ambao imeshirikiana na Kenya Alliance of Residents Association kulete huu mjadala ama hii forum. Kama vile Henry alisema tukianza, hii ni forum ambayo ni tofauti na rallies ambazo tunahudhuria, kwa sababu tuna nafasi ya kuuliza maswali yale ambao tungetaka tujibiwe ili tuweze kuweka njia zetu. Na hawa ambao they have agreed and accepted our invitation. There were 6 candidates that were invited to this forum. But hii ni heshima kubwa kuonesha kwamba wanaheshimu huu mwaliko wa wakaaji wa Kiambu. Tunawashukuru sana, na pia tumeshukuru kwa vile ambao mumejikakamua na the way you have handled the debate with a lot of decorum. We want to say this, that all of you have been residents one way or another in an active capacity. And our intention as residents is to have this partnership. These the 4 P's you're talking about, because our interests are the same interests like the government of the county or the national government. In fact, hawa wakaaji hawa invest more than the government in their neighborhood, which means they need to protect that investment for their future and for their children. And the only thing we want the government to do is to facilitate and be present, ndio wakati wanaweka zile vitu wanatakiwa kuweka serikali, tunashughulikiana pamoja. And in fact, these places that we are thinking about, Ulaya, it is already here, only that the resident associations are lacking that partnership, because many times they are seen as the other against the government, as opposed to viewing them as this. And that is why we would want, if you have not put it in your manifesto, because one of you will be elected anyway, if you have not put it in your manifesto, how you will engage residents association, tunaomba tafadhali iwekwe, kwa sababu kama sisi tungetaka kuiona, that will be one of the ways we will judge who to vote for come 9th of August. And we want to promise that those who are looking at partnering with residents and citizens, those are the ones that we will be focusing on. So we want to thank you, and asanteni sana na tunashukuru. And I think all of us, personally, I am happy that we organized this event. It has helped me to make a judgment. Thank you very much.
Sana sana. And I would like to call upon Henry Ocheng, Mr. Henry Ocheng, the CEO of KARA, to give a vote of thanks. Let's appreciate him.
Thank you very much. I know our guest must leave, so I don't want to take even more than a minute. I want to thank all of you for creating time to be here for this session. I think it has been a very productive debate, and I hope that you are able to make your choice now very clearly. I also want to thank the candidates for honoring this invitation and for putting forward a case of why you should be elected. I think we talked about issues, and we are able to see very clearly what your vision is for the county. So asanteni sana, and for our partners, thank you, Hansdale Foundation. Thank you for all those who have worked in one way or the other to make their success. Our affiliate member, Akirna. If you're not a member of a resident association, please make sure you join a resident association. Whether it is at your neighborhood level, at Kiambu level, at KARA level, we want to see you actively getting involved on issues that directly affect you. You'll make it easier for whoever is elected to also engage with you, because if you're not organized, they don't know who to talk to. But if you have your structure and your leadership, they know that they can be able to talk to your leadership and engage you in a more productive and effective way. So please actively engage, join a membership to contribute to its well-being. So with those remarks, ladies and gentlemen, let me appreciate our moderator, Azenti. A clap for him, please. So thank you very much. We are going to put all these issues together, and like I said at the beginning, whoever will be elected into the office, we are going to have a meeting after the elections and sit down, go through the issues, work out a plan of implementation, and make sure that these issues are actually implemented. So thank you very much, and God bless you. Maybe you can have a prayer. Then we have some tea and snacks at the back. Please make sure you grab something before you leave.
And then before we pray, I would like to ask, because there is the commitment memorandum to be presented to them.
Yeah, I think we'll share with them. They can go through it, and then we can arrange for signing later.
All right.
Yeah.
Asante sana.
So
Yes.
Reverend Kanake can say a word of prayer for us. He's a governing council member of KARA and also a reverend. Please, so that we can release our candidates.
Good morning. Yes, like you have heard,